Okay, are we on? On? Okay. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching this video. I am coming on here today to discuss the weeping teacher, better known as Darius Williams. He was upset over, or allegedly upset, over students not able to write a paragraph, and these were seniors in his high school in the state of Texas. Now, as a 12-year veteran teacher, in the state of Pennsylvania, I just wanted to give my opinion um, regarding this dilemma. Now, some people think he's a fraud. Some people said this about him. They had his background about him, doing cooking shows, and he's just using the teaching thing to further his little agenda or some political agenda. I don't know. I don't know. So I can't say for sure. I've never met the man. So what I want to do is to just discuss my opinion about this and what I think he should do. Now, keep in mind, in order to have a student master a particular learning goal for today or that day, it's important to ask yourself, what is the required skill necessary in order for them to reach that goal? So let's say if he's teaching students and if he realizes that students cannot write a paragraph, do you have to ask, okay, what is the requirement to write paragraphs? Now, a paragraph is between 3 to 5 sentences. When I was growing up as a Generation X person, we had to do 5 to 7 sentences. That's what we did in our generation. Now, I know this generation is different. Things are different. Time is different. It's 2026. This is not the 80s and 90s. We're not in that period anymore. But I might refer to it later on as I'm speaking. So he had to add, if they don't know how to write a paragraph, as Principal Baruti Kafele would say, and I agree with him on this, he spoke out about this. Teach them. Teach them. How to write a paragraph, and what are the required skills to writing a paragraph? One, you have to know punctuation. You have to know how to write a sentence, the difference between an independent clause and a dependent clause. They have to know that in order to write an effective sentence. Okay. Knowing when to use contraction and when to use the right proper words and vocabulary and relevance to what you're doing. So those are that. Let me give you another example. Okay. In mathematics, let's say you're trying to teach the kids, you want the kids to know and master what Pythagorean theorem is. Okay. You need to know what that formula is about. Pythagorean theorem is a square plus b square equals c square. Now, what are the requirements to achieving that goal and learning, identifying what Pythagorean theorem is and how to use it? Okay. Let's say that's your learning goal. In order to do that, the requirements are you have to be able to know how to add. You're going to have to know how to solve the problems with exponents, solving the exponents, and what is the number one operation for exponents that you have to use to get the proper answer. That is multiplication. Multiplication is involved with the Pythagorean theorem. And for those of you who do not know what that is, let me just explain to you real quick. Let's say if we want to use the Pythagorean theorem on certain numbers. Let's say the variable a equals 8 and b equals 6. So you want to substitute a for 8. That would be what? 8 square, or 8 to the second power, which really is 8 times 8. Let's get it? There's two numbers, 8 times 8. So 8 times 8 is 64. Okay? And then you have 6 square, or 6 to the second power, 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So we have 64 and you have 36. Put it together, 64 plus 36 is 100. Okay? And C square would be what? What does C equal? If it equals to 100, you have to find out what two numbers will give you 100. 10 times 10. Okay? Or you can also use the square root, and put 100 in, and the square root of 100 is 10. So therefore, C is 10, because 10 times 10 equals 100. Okay? So right there, the required skills are multiplication and addition. Okay? That's what you're doing with that. And of course, the usage of exponents. Now, if the students do not know how to solve with exponents, you have to practice with them. You have to demonstrate that. What we have in the teacher environment, or what we've been taught, was the I do, we do, you do method. And for those of you that are outside of teaching, I do basically is me modeling as the teacher. Excuse me. Let me fix my collar. Make sure that I'm straight. Oh, okay. Oops. All right, I'm good. Oh, no, I'm not. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I like to look more presentable. Excuse me. All right. So I do is where me as a teacher is modeling and demonstrating how to solve, for example, like Pythagorean theorem and what it is. We do will be some other examples that we practice together as a class. You do will be the students individually or with a partner. They work the problem out, and that comes with practice. So that's what you should do first. So let's say, like, back to the Pythagorean theorem. If the students do not know how to solve using exponents, or they don't know how to use addition, that's where you come in as a teacher to teach them that. Now, in order to do math, you must have the four basic operations down, which is subtraction, addition, multiplication. Well, I say subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division. Okay? Hope did I say that right? Subtraction, division, multiplication, and addition. That's the foundation to any math problems. If you do not have that, you are in deep trouble. And this is what we find a lot with students. And studies have shown that only about 19% are proficient in mathematics in the United States. That's a problem. And the reading level is lower than that. In writing, not good. So, like I said, learn the fundamentals. Now, for reading, you have to have phonemic awareness. You have to know what sentence structure is. You have to know how to comprehend text. That's important. I think really we need to really bring back phonics in the schools. That's very important. Now, I can get the let's say if Darius was truly sincere, Mr. Williams was sincere in his crying, and he's upset over this. It's important to, again, it's not the student's fault, but I think the solution to that would be the following. One, these parents need to take their kids to the library again, like we did when we were growing up. Go to the library, go to the bookstore, read books. That's how you get better. Because your brain is like a muscle. And they say reading is fundamental. It is, because you have to know how to read. And if you don't know how to read, you won't be able to do math per se or any of the other subjects that's given to you. So it's important to learn how to read, how to write a proper sentence. Okay, know when to use independent clauses and dependent clauses. Know how to identify them. Know how to use punctuation and contraction. Okay, you have to also know the parts of the speech like noun, verb, adjective. adverbs, etc. Okay, that's very important. That's very important that you must know that. Okay, so what I'm just saying to these, what I'm saying to Mr. Williams, you have to give him time. This is your first year in. It's your first year. I know my first year, I struggled. I struggled when you're dealing with students who have very short attention spans, and there's some that just cannot do the work that you're providing. Okay, so we need more resources with that and teaching students the basics before third grade. Because if a child doesn't learn by third grade or doesn't know how to write by third grade, they're going to be in a world of trouble, most likely. Okay, same thing with mathematics. If they do not know the operations and what certain terms correspond to that operation, it's going to be a problem. All right. So you all take care, enjoy yourselves, and remember, read. If you do not know how to read, get help. Another thing, this teacher should have also offered remedial writing services after school with the permission of the principal, of course. So that right there is what they need to do. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me or listen in, rather. And I will see you later.